This is Dafty, standing in front of 1.5 trillion coins of illegally duplicated items. When he introduces these duped gemstones into the economy, the price crashes, the server admins freak out, and more than 300 top players are banned. This single event, Thanos snapped hundreds of thousands of hours of collective progress. But it wasn't Dafty's first time decimating Skyblock. In fact, he broke the game dozens of times before, but never caused this much damage. Within 3 years, Dafty turned from a player who was working closely with the admins to help the game to the most dangerous exploiter in Skyblock history. Dafty was a regular Hypixel player who logged on in the summer of 2019 to see a brand new game mode on the server. This was Skyblock. Dafty started playing, and as he explored both in-game and on YouTube, he ran across a small creator named Friddy. Friddy was an OG Skyblock YouTuber who posted videos showcasing various duplication glitches and exploits. New Skyblock profiles automatically include a cobblestone minion and the NPC guide named Jerry. Jerry can be moved around with an egg, but Friddy uploaded a video showing how to move Jerry to the Blazing Fortress. This shouldn't be possible. In another, he placed minions into minecarts and moved them around that way. The most powerful exploit Friddy showed, though, was a collection dupe using the hub portal. On Skyblock, tons of different items like mob and farm drops have their own collections. Every time you earn a potato, for instance, your potato collection increases. You can't just drop a potato and pick it back up again to increase your collection, but there have been tons of exploits that trick the game into thinking dropped items are brand new, and thus award collection points. Friddy discovered one of the earliest methods of doing this, and showcased himself getting pushed into the hub portal while placing bones in his crafting grid. When he got teleported to the hub, the bones dropped, and when he returned to his island, the game gave Friddy points for those bones as if he had never picked them up before, thus duping his collection. Dafty saw these videos and became incredibly intrigued. He was inspired to explore the possibilities of glitch hunting, and pretty soon he joined Oats. Oats was a public glitch hunting community, and there, Dafty connected with Blobtopia, a more exclusive exploit finding squad. After joining the Blobtopia co-op, which had several exploiters on the same profile, Dafty met another glitch hunter named Treox. Treox is one of the most skilled exploit finders in Skyblock history, and he and Dafty immediately became good friends. They pretty quickly found a collection dupe and server freeze. This dupe was done with Skyblock's pre-built islands spawned in using a single item. If Dafty placed the island and Treox placed a chest in a specific location while it was spawning, the chest would get deleted. When that happened, the contents inside were dropped to the ground, and the game thought they were newly earned. If instead of a chest, Treox placed a repelling candle decoration item, the entire island would freeze. With a server freeze, you can place down unplaceable items like barriers and command blocks, create triple chests, and even duplicate items. In this footage here, Treox actually placed the candle in the wrong location, so they weren't successful in either the server freeze or the collection dupe. With Dafty's rising reputation as a skilled glitch hunter, he was invited to the Skyblock Nerds Discord, an exclusive community dedicated to providing support to the admins for the game's development and reporting exploits. Some of the glitches Dafty discovered included the bed dupe, which is crazy, I know, as well as a server crash using snow blocks. Server crashes on Skyblock are very dangerous because they can cause rollbacks and easily lead to duplication glitches. Dafty didn't abuse these glitches much though, because he didn't want to get kicked from Skyblock Nerds. However, he went full Anakin Skywalker sicko mode on the younglings after he was snitched on by another player. An admin kicked Dafty, and this was absolutely devastating because he was one of the most active members with more than 10,000 messages. This occurred when Dafty discovered another collection dupe, and his process this time might just be the most efficient method that's ever been found. Dafty did this by placing a custom portal, turning off his Wi-Fi, and then removing it. This caused the portal to glitch out. The blocks were removed, but the hologram still remained. Then Dafty was able to open the menu to remove the hologram. If he clicked remove, all the blocks where the portal was would get deleted, thus placing a chest, filling it with items, and deleting it with the hologram removal button was a wicked fast way of duping collections, and it could be repeated infinitely. Because of how quickly the chest could be filled, Dafty had the ability to get number 1 in any collection within minutes. He changed his settings so other players couldn't view his stats, but even still, his skill XP was able to be seen. Another glitch hunter named Simple Origin noticed Dafty was gaining too much farming skill XP to be legit and asked Dafty what he was doing. Dafty refused to disclose any information, so Simple reported him, which got him kicked from Skyblock nerds. Dafty now had no reason to hold back. Since he was rejected from the community that kept his morals in check, he now had no issue going fully off the rails and
introduce a little anarchy
to the game. With some more experimentation, Dafty discovered if he used the Soul Whip, a weapon that shoots out a beam of particles, and repeatedly shift-clicked it in front of a chest, the island would lag. Doing this for a couple minutes in a row then caused the island to crash, and of course, crash means duplication glitch. With this crash, Dafty duplicated several backpacks, creating what are known as stacked backpacks. Stacked backpacks are one of the most overpowered duplication glitches that have ever been involved in Skyblock, and they had been in the game for around half a year at this point. But it was pretty hard to pull off anything with the stacked backpacks because you needed another duplication glitch just to create the backpacks to dupe with in the first place. Not only were stacked backpacks so much more efficient than lobby crash dupes, no logs were sent to the admins. Duping with them was undetectable and thus incredibly powerful. On April 5th, 2021, Dafty transferred those stacked backpacks to Treox, who was on an alt account named Diesel. Treox then duplicated a metric ton of titanium drill engines, sold them to the NPC shop, and generated over 1 trillion coins out of thin air. He bought out the entire bazaar and was partway through doing the same thing with the auction house when he was confronted by the admin JF Armin. JF Armin banned and wiped him from Skyblock, and in reaction to what Diesel did, the admins disabled the bazaar and auction house for close to a week, reduced the coin price of tons of items, added a limit to the amount of coins someone could earn by selling items to the NPC, added limits to the bazaar, put in bazaar checks so they could better track who was doing what, and started investigating players who profited rather than rapid-fire wiping anyone who was flagged. Diesel single-handedly shut down the economic activity of tens of thousands of players with a simple exploit in under 45 minutes. This showed the true power of duplication glitches in the hands of a malicious actor. The entire game was brought to its knees because of the actions of just a handful of players, and this would happen again and again and again. While Diesel might have had the most monumental impact in terms of changes to the game, it was nothing compared to what Dafty did 14 months later. Still, not even 2 weeks after Diesel, Dafty found another duplication glitch, this time involving the George NPC, and Dafty realized he could get George to give him way more coins than he deserved. Of course, those were just coins, but Dafty had now entered his savage phase. Whenever he and Treox found a good duplication glitch, they got on new accounts, duped billions of coins worth of items, and then distributed them to random people who were just hanging out in the lobby. They did this with Necron's handles, worth 500 million coins each, as well as Devon's alloys, worth 1.3 billion coins each. Generally speaking, they caused all kinds of chaos. After Diesel, the admins finally patched the stacked backpack duplication glitch by creating a brand new storage system to prevent future dupes like that one. However, when Treox was messing around with the new menu, he discovered something that was absolutely game-changing. He figured out how to put any item from the menu into his inventory. The reason this was so monumental is because it generated tons of one-of-a-kind collectibles that had never been seen before. But one item stood above the rest: the My Skyblock profile. That profile item is the head of whatever account you're playing on, so by changing your skin, you could bring any skull item into the game. Treox, Dafty, and another glitch hunter named Frozy created as many of these heads as possible with different skins because they knew that the glitch wouldn't last for long. In order to ensure the exclusivity of the items they generated, the exploit gang reported the glitch, but not before Frozy did some trolling with Time Dio. The two of them went around and gave Refraction, Swavey, and 30 Virus their own heads.
Yo, what? My man has my head?
What the frick? How did you guys do that? It looks just like you. I see how it's gonna be, DL.
What is this? It's my face. Wait, I don't know how you two managed, but thank you. It's cool.
Treox and Dafty's shenanigans weren't confined to Skyblock though. In fact, they ranged all across the Hypixel network. When the two of them saw someone in Blobtopia post a screenshot of a weird lava bucket perk item from the pit, they were intrigued. The strange screenshot showed a lava bucket with the perk item line written 6 times. Dafty and Treox wanted to investigate this for themselves, so they joined the pit and found that this could be done by placing lava onto a half slab. Every time the lava was placed, its description became 1 line longer, and after 45 minutes of clicking over and over, Dafty got kicked from the pit because the item he was holding simply had too much data for Hypixel to handle. He still had the lava bucket in his hand when he tried to rejoin, but was immediately kicked once again, meaning he effectively soft-banned himself from the whole game mode. Treox coded a mod that made it so their accounts no longer rendered that data and was thus able to bypass the kick. With the mod, they could then rejoin the game, and they found that whenever they held the lava bucket, every single player in the lobby would crash. The method spread like wildfire, and that night, every single pit lobby crashed and the entire game mode went dark. Congratulations, there are 8 players on pit. This, however, was just the tip of the iceberg for their mischief. Beyond the pit, Treox even discovered a housing exploit that allowed them to name their housing plots to whatever they wanted. Treox used this to have fun with a lot of people, creating custom messages to impersonate admins, or even massive troll faces. Treox and Dafty were absolutely popping off with all kinds of tomfoolery. Some of these glitches are incomprehensible to me, like this weird ghost client account bug that created complete copies of entire players. I have no idea what's going on, but it did cause this guy to get flagged by Watchdog. With all this exploiting that Dafty was doing, it's no surprise he would get banned and wiped eventually. Even he couldn't escape the inevitable. Dafty was 30-day banned on his main account, likely because of a Watchdog cheat detection for something involving one of the glitch mods he was using. While partway through his ban, the admins decided to wipe him as well. That was because he went on an alt account and duped tons and tons of items. On the alt, he kept his island open and wrote signs claiming that random people in his guild were the ones responsible for the duping. One of the players he named actually benefited from that dupe and wasn't happy that Dafty called him out like that. The guy was even angrier when the admins wiped him after investigating everyone named on the signs. He blamed Dafty for getting him banned, so he provided evidence to the admins that Dafty was the one on that alt account. So the admins then wiped Dafty's main account. With the profile he spent so much time and effort on now gone, Dafty had nothing left to lose. And so he entered something I like to call the sandbox era. Skyblock sandboxes are profiles that abuse duplication glitches to such an extreme degree that the players in them can do whatever they want, whenever they want, with absolutely no consequences. It's essentially creative mode on Hypixel. Dafty connected with a couple of banned players, including someone named Jake, and created a 5-player co-op. Each person in the co-op had been wiped on their mains for one reason or another, and didn't want to put in the thousands of hours to grind to the top anymore. So with Dafty's help, they created a sandbox profile together. By duplicating Jerry boxes that have the chance to drop mining, farming, and foraging XP, they were able to max those skills very quickly. This, in combination with a collection dupe involving Ember armor, allowed them to get skill average 40 within a day. While on the sandbox, each player had to be very careful when they went in public. Even with their public stats disabled, anyone could click their profile, see its insanely large purse, and get suspicious. If you're chilling in the dark auction and see a guy with a 3-day-old profile with 800 billion coins, of course that's going to raise some alarm bells. Toward the end, they even bought MVP++ on some of the accounts to avoid detection. Even still, after 4 sandbox profiles were wiped, Dafty had enough. On the island where all the duping occurred, he put his Discord tag on a sign and was messaged by the admins who wanted to know what he and his buddies were up to. Of course, the admins wanted to know how they had duplicated their items, and Dafty tried to negotiate. In conversation with Minikloon, Dafty offered everything he knew on how the dupe worked and how to fix it in exchange for Minikloon restoring his original profile. On Hypixel though, the admins aren't big fans of hostage situations, so Dafty's profile remained wiped. And so Dafty created another sandbox, this time in association with someone named ZBanana. ZBanana was on an alt account and bought 3 perfect topaz gemstones to dupe with from the bazaar. The person he bought these from partied him and, without hesitating, wrote in chat, "Hi Dafty." This dude had no way to know that ZBanana's alt was in any way associated with Dafty, but he took a wild guess and was nearly correct. Dafty provided dupe stash accounts to ZBanana, who then sold those coins for real-life money, profiting Dafty more than $5,000. But this was all before the most monumental ban wave in Skyblock history. One night, Dafty duped an astronomical amount of gemstones and then sent messages around in the top guilds and Discord servers telling people to place buy orders for gemstones. Normally, rich Skyblock players can profit immensely whenever the price of items drop due to dupe glitches if they already have buy orders set in the bazaar. Dafty did this because he wanted to get fast coins on the account, and even though he had an insane amount of gemstones, he still needed people to sell them to in order to liquidate those duped items. Once people placed their buy orders, Dafty did exactly that, crashing the market. But he chose a very strategic moment to do this crash. Midnight, on the eve of a national British holiday. It took 20 minutes for the admins to close the auction house and bazaar, but the damage was done. Trillions of gemstones were pumped into the economy, and hundreds of players walked away with the billions of coins of profit. But that's not where the chaos ends. With so many people now having these illegal items, there was no way the admins could ban them all. Except the admins did. Every single person who profited from Dafty's dupe venture was banned and wiped, each time destroying thousands of hours of progress. This event was dubbed the Great Gemstone Massacre because of the sheer magnitude of the consequences, all because of one man. After this, Dafty walked away from Skyblock exploiting and hasn't done much since. Also, in this video here, I exposed the inner workings of Skyblock's black market, including some illegal coin sellers who have made hundreds of thousands of dollars off of Minecraft.